Hello, this teddygaming and welcome back to another very special video, because today we're going to be interviewing Luis Delgado. Now, this person has done the colouring for the TMNT The Last Ronin, the TMNT The Last Ronin Lost Years, and the TMNT The Last Ronin 2 The Re-Evolution, and also done some work on the TMNT The Ceremony Adventures, and also the TMNT and Ghostbuster crossover. So, yeah.
Thanks, man. Well, my name is Luis Delgado. I'm from Mexico City. I've been working with IDW since 2007, and I was lucky enough to first start working with Turtles back 2012, I think, or 2014, I don't remember. And I did a Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles crossover, and that was the first time I did that. I was really excited because I've been a huge Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters fan since I was a kid. I'm 40 years old, so I'm an 80s kid. So I grew up with all the cartoons and the movies, and so I was excited, really excited to start working in Turtles. Maybe the fans don't know this, but IDW launched the Ninja Turtles ongoing that right now it's about to get 150 issues at the same time that we started doing Ghostbusters. So for me, it was like TMT is huge and everybody was looking at them, and Ghostbusters was trying to get help from the Turtles, I guess, and maybe launch a huge franchise as well. And we ran for 94 issues, so that was pretty well. And I've been doing this, like I said, since 2007. I studied graphic design because I live in Mexico. I never thought that doing comic books was something that could happen. So I just thought, what is the second best option? And I went with graphic design. And somehow I went to San Diego Comic Con back in 2007. And that's where I met Tom Waltz. I met Tom Waltz at Comic Con. He took a look at my stuff. He gave me an opportunity. He gave me a career. And now, almost 15 years later, he gave me an even bigger opportunity. He gave me the chance to try out for Last Ronin, and the rest is history.
Okay, so because you've worked on quite a few different projects for the TMNT, do you have a favourite TMNT project that you've worked on?
Your favorite TMT project to work on? Well, definitely The Last Ronin. I mean, I did Ghostbusters, and that was fun. And I did Armageddon game. Well, I did one issue, special. I think it was 2021 one-shot special or something. But nothing can compare with Last Running. The just being part of the team, it's amazing. The art is beyond what many of the books that are out there doing right now. The artist Ben Bishop and the Scorza brothers, their art is like far beyond what other companies are doing. And just to be a part of the same team that Kevin is working on is more than an honor. And if you consider that you can see the difference between a regular and very successful writer and Kevin Eastman. I mean, I can't understand, I can't explain in words because I'm not a writer, so I don't have the words to explain how the script changes when he's involved in it, when he takes his time, and you can see the lot that he takes with every page. I mean, it's not like I have a deadline and I have to do 40 pages and goodbye, next one. No, he takes his time. So that's why I love the project, because not only him and Tom are doing amazing stuff, the Scorza brothers and Ben are taking their time. I mean, they really take their time to make sure that every page is as good as the next one or better than the one before. So I love this project, and I can't deny that the love that comes from the fans helps that you're doing something worth it, something good, because we do it because we love it. And we are thankful that we can do this for a living, but then receive all the love from the fans and the people that review the books, and you see the numbers that so many people are buying this, and you see all the merchandise, the t-shirts and the NECA toys and the Funko toys and the video game, and all the passion that the fans are enjoying my work, our work. It's just makes you feel even better.
With the second Ghostbusters crossovers, there was like different universes with different art styles, and you also did like different card styles. And was it quite difficult to do that, or was it quite easy?
No, well, I can't say it was easy because every artist has their own style, but it's definitely a lot more fun to change because you have to adapt to an artist. It's not like I'm gonna do the colors the same way. You can see it when I color Ben and when I color the Scorza brothers. You have to adapt to improve. Well, not improve, just not to ruin their work because that's my job. They are building an universe, a world, a scene, and I just have to complement it. So I have to change and adapt to what they're doing. See what the line art sometimes is heavier, sometimes is the action is different or the framing. So I have to find a way that my rendering style will help the art, and it's like I said, it's not easy, but it's actually more fun than difficult. It's refreshing. You change from doing the same stuff a lot of times to something new for a moment, and that is always better. And that's why I like the second volume of Ghostbusters and TMT better than the first one. And I like the story better too. And it's a really fun arc. Yeah, it was 5 issues,
Yeah,
and I think I did 4 or 5 different artists.
I think it was, believe it was five. Well, I'm not sure, just because like in the first issue there was like a few more universes, so I think maybe seven or something like that.
Yeah, but I think that the first issue with the different universes, they were just glimpses, and they were made by, I think all of them were made by Dan Shannon. So he changed his style because he's a chameleon. I don't know if you read anything from Ghostbusters outside of the TMT crossover, but he's amazing. He's doing the Saturday Morning Adventures. I'm doing those books with him, and he's copying what they were doing in the 80s. So he's a chameleon. He's amazing. So that's why he looks like it was different artists, but it was just him. And but we had the 3 adventures. But it was Donnie and Winston, I think, and there was Leo, and the other one was Raph. So I remember that we were doing 3. I know Donnie was with Egon in the Ghostbusters universe.
Yes, Leah was in like a apocalyptic future. Mikey was in a like a mutant world, and Ruff was
Yes,
in like a barbarian world.
yes, that's right. I didn't do the Mikey with Peter. That was the artist. He did his own colors, so I was unlucky in that department. But I also think I did with Freddie Williams III. I think he did a scene with the Turtles' mother, didn't he? I
I'm
don't.
not too sure, but I think so.
Yeah, I think so. So the point is, it was 4 or 5 different artists, different universes, and I've been crazy about the multiverse even before it was a thing now. So I remember that crossover, and I remember the Ghostbusters crossing over with the 80s cartoon universe, and of course, like an 80s kid, I remember DC Comics before the huge crisis on the Infinite World. So I remember the Earth 2 and Earth 3 and everything. I've always been a fan of multiverse stories and TMT, and so it was everything together.
So with the last run, and it did become like very popular. Would you like expecting it to be like as popular? Like, was you expecting it to be like? Was you expecting it to be like as popular as it did?
I don't think anyone ever thought it was going to be this big. I think all the credit goes to the fans because Kevin was doing his story. I think you probably everyone has heard his version that they were doing just a final story that they want to do together, Tom and Kevin, and it was running because, as you all know, he planned that story back in the 80s with Peter Laird, and he wanted to bring it back. And then he adapted, he changed some stuff that he did with, obviously, with Tom, and but the fans went crazy with it. And IDW didn't think it was going to be that big. Kevin and Tom didn't think it was going to be that big. And obviously, I would have never imagined that I would be a part of something that amazing, that crazy. And but it was all worth it. And I meant it was all. I don't know. It's so big because the story is so good. That's what I was trying to say. That it became that big because Kevin is amazing in what in what he does. So creating the turtles wasn't just a fluke, like, oh, I thought about turtles being ninjas, and that was funny, and that's why it's so huge. It's not that. Kevin is so good with the art. His even his coloring style. He has notes for my art, and sometimes he's like, I do what he asked me, and I see the difference. So he wasn't coloring, but still he knew what what could it be improved. So I think that's why it's been so huge. But I never think, and I believe that nobody thought it was gonna be this big. Right now, outside of I think the movie that was so good, Mutant Mayhem, I don't think there's nothing as big as Ninja Turtles right now. I mean, this is a story that everyone is looking at, everybody's waiting for. You have the video game that's supposed to come in. I don't know how long it takes to do a video game. I assume like 3-4 years, and it feels amazing that fans are loving it, and I feel blessed to be part of it.
So with the colors, I told you like use like certain colors.
To use certain colors, yeah. Well, yes, I think I did because at the beginning, as you remember the story, so some of the pages for issue 1 were already been drawn, and a few of them have colors on them. Actually, when I had to do the tryout to see if I could be a part of the team, they have some colors, and they were initially wanted me to do the same style as the previous pages because they didn't want to do everything from the beginning, from scratch. They end up doing everything from the beginning. The Scorza brothers did all the pages, and that's why things could have changed. But at the beginning, when I did the tryout, I had to do the same colors. So the last Ronin colors were already colored before I started. So I had to use the same colors. I changed them a little bit, I think, depending on the situation and with different issues. So, I mean, issue 3, 4, 5, I had to change some stuff, but those colors were already established. And I think that was it. A little bit of the sky. I really like the tone of the sky for the first pages, and I reused that one when we were outside on the lower part of Manhattan, because I really like that very post-apocalyptic color. But outside of that, it was just I believe Ronin, because Casey had a stronger color. It was more cartoonish in the original pages, so I made it more like the 80s style that Kevin was looking for. But outside of that, I didn't have a big big colors. Well, a big what I wanted to say. I had freedom. Maybe with Hiroto's final armor, I wanted to go a little bit toned, a little bit different, but Kevin insisted I had to be so much closer to metal, to liquid, to Terminator and Silver Surfer, and I changed that. But other than that, it was a lot of freedom with the book. Tom and Kevin believe in me. The Scorza brothers believe in me, so that's what I've been doing. Ben has it's more specific in the ideas he has, so I go through a lot of the colors with him. Every page I send it to him before I send it to the team, so he can approve it. But he also gives me a lot of freedom. After all these pages, he trusts me. But sometimes he's like, I wanted something a little bit different. What do you think about my idea? So I take a look at his idea, and I will obviously go with it. But other than that, it's pretty cool to be able to trust yourself and to know that the team trusts you.
And what was it like to work on the Samuel Adventure comics?
The Saturday Morning Adventure comics. I love it. I mean, since back in with Ghostbusters, the Dan Shannon did the 80s comics for I believe there will be Saturday Morning Adventures as well for the Ghostbusters. I loved that his style is exactly like the cartoons. And like I said, I grew up with the Ninja Turtles and the Ghostbusters cartoons. So for me, it's really cool to see. I believe those are my turtles. I mean, all of us have different turtles, and I believe those are mine. And now that's Ronin. But I grew up with those cartoons, and when I first saw they were doing the book, I wasn't part of it. I was doing Last Ronin, and it was done by Eric Burnham. I've worked with Eric since 2010 with Ghostbusters, and I did Godzilla, and I did GI Joe with him, so we're very close. And it was doing the art was by Tim Laddie, and I worked with Tim in Ghostbusters as well. So I was a little bit surprised, like, oh, they're doing a SMA Ninja Turtles. Why I'm not a part of it? And of course, I didn't ask anyone. I was just wondering why. And then they changed the creative team. And before I knew they were changing it, I talked to Charles Beecham. He was in charge of editing, and he was editor in chief for Ninja Turtles. And my run with Godzilla was over. Dan Shannon and I did 12 books, 12 issues of Godzilla, Monsters and Protectors. And I asked him, do you have anything for me and Dan, or maybe just for Dan, because I'm doing Ronin, so I don't know if you have anything. And he said, like, actually, now that I know that it's over, I've been wanting to do something with Dan and with you, and we have an opening, and I want to know if you guys are interested. And I'll obviously jump and say, of course I'm interested, it doesn't matter what you want me to do. Then he says the SMA, and we were really excited, and it's really, really a lot of fun. Eric is a great writer. He's very funny. I think he's hilarious. I mean, maybe sometimes his personality doesn't show, but in his writing, it's so good. And his notes are always really funny, even if they don't make it into the pages. Sometimes it's just the description, sometimes it's just an idea. Sometimes it's just the credits. He always writes the script and he says, writing by Eric Burnham. And he then says, Dan Shannon, the master of the universe. And colors by Luis Delgado, the rainbow wizard, something like that. He always changes the credits, and it's a lot of fun. And the stories are different from Last Ronin, not better, but different. They're good, they're funny, they're for everyone, and I just grew up loving them. And so I'm really, really excited to be a part of Saturday Morning Adventures, as the same way I'm excited to be part of Last Ronin.
So, and with that, because you're working on The Last Ronin and Samurai Adventures at the same time, is it quite difficult to like do both at the same time?
No, it's not difficult. Sometimes, if I have to do a lot of projects, sometimes I do many projects, it becomes some of the rendering changes, like, oh my God, I have to render it different. But because it's only Saturday Morning Adventures and it has a very specific style that we know, and Dan always sends me references. So he spends, and I have no idea how many hours, I believe there will be dozens of hours, planning the book. He goes through many issues, episodes I meant, and he takes a lot of screenshots, and he uses those screenshots for his art, so he can be doing the same kind of style. And he sends me those screenshots so I can see the colors, the same palettes, and I adapt to them. It's always hard in the first issue, before I really understand how to color a new project. But after that, it just becomes natural. And actually, it's refreshing. You have to jump between Last Ronin, and I have to jump. Sorry. If I do Saturday morning and I do Ronin the same day, it can be refreshing, going from too dark to a little bit, to a little bit more fun and colorful. It's really helpful to stay passionate about what you're doing, to change the styles. It doesn't become repetitive. So it's I appreciate it. I appreciate that. And I don't know, I've been working with them for 13 years. So it's always good to work with him in anything.
So, do you have a favorite character you like to color?
I gotta say, I believe my favorite has to be Ronin. Mikey is my favorite character, my favorite turtle since I was a kid. So when I found out he was Ronin, I was really excited he was him. And I like his style. He's dark. His facial expressions are really good. Right now, I really enjoy working on Moja. I did Moja in Lost Years, so I've been doing her for a while now. But right now I'm doing it also with last Ronin issue one, well, Re-Evolution issue one, and I really enjoy the colors. I think from all the colors that I did for the four turtles, came in with coming up with her colors that are more earth colors than water colors. I don't know, it's a lot of fun. She reminds me a lot of Wolverine because she's shorter than her brothers, and she's angry, and she has the size, so it can be like Wolverine claws. I don't know. I really enjoy working on her. Right now, I think she's my favorite character to color.
So because you've been working on some of the biggest TMT comic books that have been coming out in the past few years, do you feel any pressure working on those comic books now?
Of course, who wouldn't be pressured to be part of the biggest Ninja Turtle comic? And now I don't know if it's the biggest one right now. I don't believe it's the biggest ever because the original Mirage run. But I do believe it's a book that everybody is reading, and there's a lot of pressure to do things right. I don't usually read reviews because if I read reviews and there's something bad with my coloring, I obsess with that, so I can never forget it, and so I can mess up with my mind. I just like to know that people are liking it, and yeah, but it's in everybody's mind what we're doing. You're gonna see the art, and it's gonna be awesome. And I feel pressure that maybe something that I liked, maybe the others are not gonna like it, or maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was, or everybody loves the Scorza and Ben's art. So maybe if I don't work that well on that page, in one particular page, I feel like I ruined their art. But sometimes when it turns out better than I thought, it's really exciting. For example, in Lost Years issue 2 and issue 3, they were telling stories. For, if you remember, the first one, I think both stories were told by April, and they were telling about the past. So I was able to use different colors, like it was a dream, because it was supposed to be imagined by the kids. So they were imagining things a different way that it actually happened. So I remember the issue 2, I did some purples with red, and it was really a lot of fun. And on the second book, I think Ben wanted to go with something different. He had an idea, but I had this idea to make it black and white and red, and I went with it, and he liked it, and I was really excited that he did, because the turtles design had a lot of red, and it was a little bit darker than the previous story. So that's what something I did, and I'm really happy that people liked it. I mean, they responded well to those pages, and that's pretty good, and that gives me confidence that I can do a good job, because even if you don't believe it, we are really passionate about it, and it's not just a job. It's not like I have to do 3 issues and then what else do I have to do? No, we are giving everything to this book, to this story, because you guys responded so well to the first one. We want the second one to be as good, and as good for you, or if we're lucky, even better. Then I don't know if it can be better, because, well, we all miss Mikey. But we are really passionate about it, and we're waiting to see if you guys like it, and that will help us for the upcoming issues and whatever comes next. We are really giving everything we have on these books, and you will know it if you will see the behind the scenes. You can't, and then I can't tell it. So but trust me, we're really excited about it, really passionate and worried, and we expect you guys to like it. We hope you do, and we just can't wait for February for you guys to read the issue 1.
So because you've been working with a few different turtles, with the regular turtles, the new Ronin turtles, do you have a favourite turtle now?
Who is my favorite turtle? Like I said, it's always been Mikey. Always. I don't know why. Maybe it has something to do with he was more childish. He was younger. He was fun, and I reacted to that. I liked it because I was also a little kid, and I wanted to learn to skate because of him. I couldn't do it. I have 2 left feet. So I had someone gave me a skateboard for my birthday, and I had it for years and used it 3 times, I think, because I'm really bad at skating. He was a lot of fun, and when I was able to do the Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles, I was really happy uh, to do Mikey, and I grew really fond of Raph because of the red mask. Red is a color I really like, so I enjoy working on him in the flashbacks with Ben. Right now, it's a new generation. I know she's not a turtle, but April is. I think he's one of my all-time favorite characters. I mean, I think about this kind of stuff. I make lists in my head when when I'm not thinking about anything, and I think of my favorite characters ever, and some of them are Superman, Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars, and I believe last Ronin's version of April is one of my favorites. She's badass, she's smart, she's strong as hell. I mean, she lost her entire family, and she still built an army, a revolution, and she's awesome. She's not a turtle, but I love her. She's so cool. And right now, the turtles, if you are talking only about the 4 turtles, I really like Odin. I don't know why I feel like he has a huge heart and he's funny. I like him, but Moja is just so much fun too. She's always angry. I mean, even when she's not I believe she might not be angry at the moment, but she has to pretend like she's angry, just frowning all the time. I don't know. I really like her. I want to see more of her. I haven't seen enough, and I've already done it for 5 issues, almost 7, because Last Ronin is like 2 issues in one because it's 40 pages. So I basically have worked on her 7, 8 issues or whatever, and she's so cool. I really like her.
So last thing is there anything you'd like to promote?
Was anything you would like to promote? Well, yes, there's something. You already know I'm doing Saturday Morning Adventures, so that doesn't have to be promoted. Last Running, probably the only book in the world that doesn't need any more promoting. But in the summer of 2024, next year, there's gonna come out a book I did with Eric Shannon Denton and Marcus Tow. They're both accomplished on the road in their fields. Shannon has done so many TV shows and books and everything. Marcus is a New York Times bestseller. And we did a book, it's called Kingdom Riders. Kingdom Riders, it's gonna be 9 issues, but I think it's gonna be sold as a graphic novel. So it's gonna be the whole 9 issues. I think it's 184 pages long, plus some internal designs or art or writing. It's really good. It's a different world. And you can say, I've heard them describe it as the Hunger Games meets Avatar, and I think a little bit of Pokemon, because here's the explanation. It's a world that is a little bit medieval, you know. They have big castles and that kind of thing. I don't think there's a lot of technology, but there's a little bit. But it's more like a medieval kind of story, like Lord of the Rings or something like that. I really like fantasy more than science fiction. But in this world, there are huge. The animals are huge. I mean, the main character, she rides a huge tow. So it's like, I believe it has to be 2 meters or maybe 3 meters big. So it's a huge tow, and she rides it. And every year, or I don't know how often, they have these races, and every region, every nation chooses a rider to represent them, and the region that wins, because they have a team of 3 riders, so the region that wins becomes the ruler of the world, to avoid huge wars, because in the past, like 1,000 years ago, there was a huge war and the world was destroyed. So the winner decided that this was the best way to to make everyone, at the same level that everyone could rule. So now we have a new race, and these characters, they're like champions, they're like underdogs. They're all underdogs, and it's a really fun adventure with magic. There's some magic that teletransports, some magic that is obviously the huge characters, and there's shape shifting. So it's a really fun adventure. It's very colorful. I think the art looks a lot like the original Avatar, maybe a little bit with Korra, and so it's really good. The art, not my colors. I mean the real art. The artist is really good, Marcus Toll, and I think you're gonna like it. It's gonna come out next year by IDW, and I really hope you like it because they have plans for more books if it's a success, and I want to see how it goes. And I believe, yeah, the kids and grown-ups are gonna enjoy it. I mean, grown-up like me, kids like my kids. So I believe everyone is gonna like it.
Okay, well, and that sounds really amazing. But yeah, and that's all questions got. Like I say, thank you again so much. This really meant a lot.
Come on, man. This means a lot, even more for me. I mean, I'm just some guy in Mexico that somehow people want to hear what he has to say, what he thinks. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. My friends don't want to listen to me talk about comics, and neither are my parents or anyone. Nobody cares about what I do. So it's crazy to know that someone across the pond or somewhere in the US or somewhere in the world actually cares about what I do and what I have to say. So I thank you for your time, for being interested in me, and for the passion that you guys have for the last running. So thank you for everything.